what do you see from Florida State? Obviously, they're highly ranked. What kind of challenges they present?
Number one, they're just super fast and athletic and want to get up and down in transition. So that's number one key. We got to slow them up and neutralize them in their transition game. If they get easy buckets, it's going to be a long night. And also just trying to keep them in front of us, keep them out of the paint. They really thrive off getting downhill. So how do you do that? Number one, we got to value the ball. We got to take really good care of the basketball and value possessions, and then also take really good shots, because a bad shot against them can lead to a run out layup.
You guys have talked about it. You talked about it too. Just the adjustment period that comes with defensively on this team. What does that look like for you, and what kind of principles are you emphasizing for new players that are coming in?
I think it's always the hardest thing. You saw it last year. You've seen it with some of our transfers and/or freshmen. So for us, obviously, every single day, every possession, there's a standard defensively, and it's hard, and you got to work really, really hard. So our core values are really just trying to keep the ball in front of us and do your job on the ball. The more we get blown by, the more we get people going by us and getting in the paint. Now we got to rotate, and we want to try to eliminate as many rotations as possible. Obviously, that's not, it's not going to be a perfect game, but try to eliminate as many blow-bys as we can. Depending on what kids were taught in high school and or at their previous program, just the intensity level and I think the demand of defense, and it matters. And again, the effort and the focus of it, I hold that to a high level, and it's really, really hard.
The quick team that you're guarding, how big can fouls be in this?
It's really important, and obviously in certain positions we're not as deep, so we got to be really locked in. We talk all the time about discipline and defend without fouling, but again, it's a first game. How are the refs going to call it? Usually at the beginning of the year they call things tighter, so we got to be really, really disciplined of keeping our hands up and defending with our feet against really, really quick and athletic guards.
How close, in your opinion, was last season to what you want to do in terms of speed? And it seems like you're a team that could thrive on taking a lot of threes, and we've seen that be successful. How close were you to on balance with that last year?
It's not, we're not have a certain number of threes that we want to take. We're not kind of like the men's side where, Brad wants to take a million. Like, we don't really operate like that in terms of like our analytics. Like, we want, if it's an open rhythm shot out of our offense, and I want them to take that. So, if we're getting Phoenix threes and catch and shoots or in the half court, I'm cool with that. I'm great with it. But it's not like something that I'm going to say, hey, you got jack threes to get to a certain number just because we're going to play the numbers game. Now, we did shoot it better the year before, in my first year. It's interesting. I don't know why. I don't know, we shot more. So, I think this team, we have a lot of good shooters. We probably have more shooters than we did last year. So hopefully that number will go up. And again, if we're open, if they're a rhythm shot that we practice a lot, I want us to shoot any time that we're open.
Kind of playing off of that, the field goal percentage is the same both years, with a 3-point change. What do you kind of make of that? Kind of speaking about what you were speaking
I think also we played bigger, so KB and Hobby were in there a lot together. Jada, shot the ball really well for my first year, and then obviously she got hurt. And then we, some of our players, Makaira, didn't shoot the ball from three well early on, and then she did late in the season. So we just weren't as consistent, and I think a lot of that, there's a lot of reasons why, but I do think we're built more this year to shoot the three better and more of them. So hopefully that's the case, but I think that a lot of factors played into that.
Kendall talked about slow starts last season on Friday. In the off season, did you study that? And if so, what do you think maybe contributed to some of that?
I mean, it's something we've looked at and talked about and tried to dissect and evaluate since last year. That's where last year we were still doing it. We were put into practice. We have a first quarter every day. And do we win? Do we lose? At some point, I'm probably old school. At some point, you just got to be ready to go. There's only so many things you can do, and you got to be ready. It's focus. It's a focus of being ready to execute at a high level on both ends of the floor. And we have a sports psychologist. We do visualization before games. We start doing it at halftime. It's like, so we're trying everything we can possibly think of. But at some point, you got to come out, and when that ball's tipped, you got to be ready and you got to play.
Seem to have their version of double-double machine like KB and Timpson.
Yeah.
What do you see in that matchup there between Kendall and her?
Yeah, Timpson's really good, and obviously she's a little bit different than KB, where Timpson's long, she's super athletic, has a little bit more bounce, but KB's used to facing up against people that she's maybe not as athletic as and or undersized. I mean, we see that all the time against everyone we play. So KB just has to do what KB does, and it's be disciplined, it's have a high motor, it's do all the little things at an elite level. She also has a wide variety of skill set of herself, so she can attack Timpson in some other ways, when she's on defense. Against her, especially keeping her off the boards, we got to be really, really fundamental in our box outs, because she's going to out-jump all of us, and that's okay. I tell our kids that all the time. It's okay. We're not going to out-jump anyone. We haven't for 2 years, and I'm totally fine with that. But we can be more disciplined. We can be fundamental, and that's why we've always been a high-level defensive rebounding team dating back to my days at Dayton. We've been a top 25 defensive rebounding team, because when we're disciplined and do things the right way, we box out, and now we're able to run.
Shay talked about Jasmine kind of brings like a quiet, like a calming presence. Have you noticed that with her? And what is it about her that maybe allows to find that so early in being her?
Yeah, she is. That's her personality. She's very just calm, cool, collected, and then she can go out there and kind of be a killer. So I think it's her. And I think that's good. I think everyone leads in different ways. Some people are super vocal. Some people are more calm in it. And I see that being kind of her leadership style. So I'm challenging her all the time to be more of a leader, be more of a vocal presence, and get that experience this year, because next year, obviously, we're graduating a lot of our leaders. So, but no, she does. She just brings a calming presence to us.
Your players have talked a lot about their confidence, having a good mindset. How do you make sure that when they're on the court against such a tough team, they keep their confidence high, keep their mindset in a good spot?
We talk about all the time about our responses, and it's something that you've seen last year. Sometimes our responses were good, and sometimes they weren't. We didn't respond quick enough, and now it can snowball into one mistake can lead to 5 or 6. So all the time, trying to keep your confidence levels high is really, again, it's a mindset. It's focus, it's discipline to be able to get yourself back after a good play and or a bad play. How are you going to respond? And basketball is a game of mistakes. There's going to be a lot of mistakes throughout a 40-minute game. The team that wins is the team that can respond quicker in a more positive way. And we've worked on that, for the last year and a half, a lot.
You talked about just with Jazz, a holistic approach on Friday, but you seem to have done that with. That just seemed to be a philosophy of the program.
Yeah.
What does that kind of look like, and maybe what's led to you taking that approach?
I think I've always had that, and obviously Dr. Cook has worked with us at Dayton in all my years there, and now having her over here. I just believe that if number one on my ladder of what needs to be in order is your mind has to be right. Your mind's number one, and then everything else kind of goes from there. Basketball can't be number one if your mindset's not right. So I've always just really believed in the mental approach and how powerful the mind is and your ability to produce and your ability to respond to adverse situations. So with that, we talk about it a lot. It's not just basketball, it's everything. Your mind, your nutrition, your strength and conditioning, your recovery, everything matters. And especially at the highest level, you gotta be elite in all those areas. So it's just something that we've always embraced, and now here at Illinois, you have the resources with personnel and also recovery and the equipment that you got to take advantage of it. So it's always been kind of who we are and what we want to be about.
We talk about depth a lot, and I don't mean in terms of physically, but probably a better question for Mikaira or Jen, but to know that maybe they don't have to be their best version every single night, because there's more maybe around them. How have you seen that, if at all, help them?
I still want to be the
not
best
to suggest
version.
you don't like it, you know what I mean?
No, I don't know if they've really thought about it, and that's okay too. I want them. My thing with them is also, and sometimes you see this with seniors and especially with fifth years, they want it so bad, right? They want it so bad. They have such high expectations, and sometimes it can paralyze you a little bit. Really the last few days, I'm just telling them, I just want them to play and be you and do what you do. They're almost trying so hard to make everything perfect, and then then you don't play like you're capable of playing. So right now my message is just be you, do you, go out there and have fun, like enjoy playing the game, you know, and then hopefully throughout these games, and they don't have to play 40 minutes, but if they're playing really well and they're in the condition to play, that they're going to do that too. Anyone, I'm going to keep who's playing well out there, but hopefully they'll see that and they can just be fresher in mind and then fresher in their body too.
With the mental fortitude of your team, how is your squad embracing going into this game as the underdogs?
I think, that's what I like. I like being the underdog. I like having people overlook us. But at the end of the day, Florida State's a really good team. So we got to come ready to go, and we got to come and play at a high level. We got to defend. We got to have our D-trans has to be, on point. We got to be able to hit shots. Even in the Lewis game, if we made some shots, we missed 9 layups. We missed free throws. Like, you can't do that against a top 20 team and expect to beat them. So we got to do the little things at a high level. Do simple really, really well.
It's fair to say, only going off the is Gretchen maybe playing a little even more free and a little more confident? Not that she wasn't last year, but just is that a step there for her?
Yeah, I think so. I think always as a year under your belt, I just think she's more confident just in general. She has an understanding of what's going on. It's not so unknown as a freshman. You just don't know what you don't know. Sometimes that's good, but sometimes that can be stressful. And now she's playing freer and more confident, and just really excited for her this season. Thank you, guys.